In today's session of Visual Jforex, we will be working with the indicator named CDMI, which stands for Chande's Dynamic Momentum Index, and it is also known as Chande's Dynamic Momentum Indicator. So it is kind of interchangeable, and it means the same indicator. This is the indicator which we use to look at the momentum for the underlying instrument, whether it is bearish or bullish, and also it gives us the idea of the overbought oversold scenarios also. So in a way, it is like RSI, and the values, the plotting is also fairly similar. So it will be a lot easier to understand as well. So let us now get started. We will be designing and developing the algorithm on the Visual Jforex board, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. Here, you will find this indicator listed amongst momentum indicators just below the CCI. Here it is. We have to define these input values, and compared to other indicator, it has a lot of input values which need to be defined. Here we have to define the default instrument, which is the same for other indicator, but apart from that, the standard deviations, the moving average type, and the other values also, like dynamic momentum index and the lower period and higher period, can also be defined. But in today's session, we won't be customizing these values. To carry out any changes, you have to see how it works out on the chart. And if you feel that a certain setup is likely to be more rewarding, if it is likely to figure out the ideas for the trading earlier, then you can carry out the changes. I had also done a prior session during the introductory series where we had talked about how this indicator is calculated and how these values are arrived at. So in today's session, I won't be going into the technicalities of it. We will be more concerned with the functional aspects of it. For moving average time, we will simply rely on the simple moving average, and that will keep things simple. We will be working with the two different CDMI values. One will be for the period of hourly, and another will be on the 5 minutes time frame to pinpoint the exact entry point. Prior to that, I will also have to carry out the instrument subscription. But let us now get us the idea behind the trade. We will be looking for the initiation of the trade whenever we feel that the underlying instrument is showing good enough momentum, and for that we will be relying on the hourly time period where we will look for the opportunities using these Chande's dynamic momentum index. And as you might be familiar, we know that this indicator is going to give us the idea for the trend change. Whenever we see the value rising above 50, above 50 is considered bullish, whereas below 50 is considered bearish. And if the value is beyond 70, then that is considered overbought, and if the value is below 30, that is considered oversold. So the plotting is, as I had said earlier, is pretty similar to the RSI, and because of that, it becomes easier to use as well. And what we will do, we will look for the initiation of the buy trade whenever we see that the underlying instrument is going for the bullish territory from bearish territory. So during that instance, we will look for the initiation of the buy trade. And when we see that the underlying instrument is now going from above 50 to below 50, we will look for the initiation of the sell trade. And to pinpoint the exact entry point, we will also rely on the 5 minutes time period candles. So whenever we see that the 5-minute time frame value had dipped below the 30, that is, it had gone into the oversold territory, and then it rebounded and come back to cross above 30, we will be initiating the buy trade, provided the hourly condition is also getting fulfilled. So that's how this setup is going to work. And now we will have to go back to the Visual Jforex board where the execution is going to happen. Prior to that, I will carry out the instrument subscription. So we have to look for the if blocks, logical, and the position amount will need to be defined at 0. Default variable, we will have to take the default instrument and match it with on candle instrument. Okay, and then they should match the as candle instrument. And here we will have to search for Euro USD, and let's hope we will be able to find it without much hassle. Many times it happens that we kind of overlook it. I kind of overlook it. Now, today is not that day. And position info or position and position amount will have to be defined as 0. Okay, and after that I will join the CDMI. Now here we are going to compare the hourly values. For that we will need two CDMI blocks of the hourly time frame and with the lookback period of 1 and 2 respectively. Momentum indicators, and in it, here it is, we are going to need four of these blocks. Okay, and we will have to define its input parameters also. This will be changed to hourly. And shift is going to be 2. The moving average time will be SMA. And this will be a 15 minutes time period. As I explained to you, whenever we will be looking for the initiation of the buy trade, I think along with the 15 minutes time period, I think I was looking for 5 minutes, not 15 minutes, as it will be pretty difficult to get us the entry with overbought oversold scenario when we have the change on the hourly time period. So because of that, to get the optimum entry, I think 5 minutes should be good enough. Okay. So this will be changed to 5 minutes. Moving average type is SMA again, and shift 1. And storage type also need to be defined, SMA, and this time period will be changed to 5 minutes. So all these 4 CDMI blocks will help us determine the optimum point of entry and the values which we needed to customize. We have done that as well. Output values, you will find it here. And along with that, we will also have to take the help of historical candles to look at the price action, whether there is enough of momentum or not. It shouldn't be the case that the price action is pretty sideways, there is not much of a momentum, and even in such instances, we can have CDMI values moving. So to avoid that kind of scenario, we will also use component blocks info. Get historical candles, candles of four candles of hourly time frame. This will be changed to 1. And this amount changed to 4. This I will change to hourly. Okay, and to retrieve its components, we will need a loop viewer, which is included under the logical blocks. I will name it FHL. Okay, so far so good. And then, as is the customary practice, to pinpoint the exact entry point, we also take the help of the 10-second candles and the immediate last candle closing. In this case, it will be of 5 minutes. So we have to again retrieve the info blocks. Single 3 we will need. This will be of 5 minutes. Shift 1. And here these two will be of 10 seconds each. Look back period of 1 and 2 respectively. Okay, so in this session we have got all these blocks together, which we are now going to use for defining the various conditions which need to be placed prior to the execution of the order. But as the time is running out, we will be continuing with our work in next session. I hope you have been able to understand the logic behind this algorithm, and